Happy Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to the Kristian Harloff Show. It's post-Emmys Monday. What a big night of Emmys wins for The Penguin, for Adolescence, for The Pit, for so much things that were celebrated there, both mainstream HBO stuff and then also streaming stuff here through Netflix. We're going to talk about all of it. Demon Hunter blew up at the box office. We're going to talk about that. Or Demon Slayer, we're going to talk about all that as well. And of course, it's not just me. It's the great Dan Murrel joining me as well. So let's get it going. Kristian Harloff Show, Monday morning. Let's go. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Kristian Harloff Show on a Monday morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We are here to talk about a bunch of stuff going on in the world of entertainment. And I know I cannot do it alone because there is so much to talk about. I cannot soldier the burden alone, climbing up the Mount Everest of conversation on these topics. So we are bringing in a ringer, so to speak, but a man who was my teammate on the Founding Fathers and a man who, of course, you guys have loved and enjoyed for many, many years and is killing it on his own YouTube channel. That is the great Dan Murrel. What's up, Dan? How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's up? I'm so happy that we're all clear on time zones and there's no confusion and everything's running smoothly from the word go.
There you go. There you go. A little inside baseball conversation to have there, everybody. Sorry about being delayed a little bit. There was some confusion about when we were starting, but we are here together to talk about all the things going on in entertainment. But Dan, we should check in with you first. How are you? How are things? How's the move going? How's the new studio coming along? Like, where are you at in the process of your moving here?
Dead in the middle. I'm on about, let's see, 2.5 hours of sleep because between working on my video for the Emmys, which went up this morning, and getting up this morning to go meet somebody doing some work on the house. I might nod off in the middle of the show. That's basically what I'm saying here.
I'll have to go louder, I guess, to get you to
just shout, just snap a couple times if you see me drifting.
Shark! Dan, Shark! I'll just do that. I think that'll get you going for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of the Emmys, that's the first thing we're going to talk about here. Before we jump in, though, I just want to remind you all, please, the Super Chats are open. Send them in. You know we like to start Monday strong, and Dan Murrel is here, y'all. So I know you guys got some questions to ask to Dangerous Dan and me about everything that's going on. So send them in as we go along. We'll answer them at the end of the show. But Dan, we should start. Well, you know what? Let's make a decision and start with the Emmys. Let me bring the Emmys up first. I was going to start with Demon Slayer, but let's start with the Emmy. Oh, let me bring that up. Hold on a second. I always have to when we're improvising on the fly. I have to always make sure I've got the right thing going on. There we go. Let's bring it up. Put it on the side here. All right. Let me read it to you. Everything that's going on here. So here we go. The Emmys were last night. As Dan said, he did a video for this, the 77th Emmy Awards. Adolescence, The Pit, and The Studio were the big winners in limited series, drama, and comedy, respectively. We can make it a little bit. Adolescence swept the entire limited series category with 6 wins out of 7, the sole exception being Kristen Milioti winning Best Actress for The Penguin. The Pit took top drama series along with 2 acting honors for Noah Wiley and Catherine Lanassa. Severance took the other 2 acting honors for Trammell Tillman and Britt Lower, while Andor won for writing and Slow Horses for directing. The Studio took Best Comedy Series, Best Actor in a Comedy, Seth Rogen with writing and directing honors. And the 2 leading ladies of Hacks took acting honors, while Jeff Hiller won for Somebody Somewhere. Ultimately, some of the big shows only landed 1 win. That's Andor, Slow Horses, and The Penguin. But, of course, they also won Creative Artist Emmys last week, or Technical Emmys, and quite a few walked away with none, including The White Lotus, The Bear, The Last of Us, The Diplomat, Abbott Elementary, Paradise, Matlock, Nobody Wants This, Monsters, The Lon Menendez Story, Black Mirror, Dying for Sex, Only Murders in the Building Shrinking, and The Daily Show. So, Dan, what are your thoughts about the Emmys last night? What do you think happened here? Are you excited for what happened? Like, what's your overall assessment here? Not giving away too much of your video, but what are your thoughts on all of this stuff?
Yeah, no, I was excited. I was kind of expecting, because the Emmys generally, especially when you have these shows that are multiple nominee, 10, 15, 20, 25 nominations, it's like, okay, well, they're going to win. So I was expecting Severance to win most of the drama stuff. Right. Maybe White Lotus pick up a couple acting categories. I was expecting the Studio to just kind of roll through everything in the comedy category,
right?
And then Adolescence to do what it did, which I think is well deserved, because I think that's a very unique and an important show, and it's just, I know it's all subjective, but that was one where sometimes I'm annoyed when one show wins everything.
Yes.
But that one, it was hard for me to look at the other nominees and say, well, I would have put that person over, taken that person out of winning and putting it in there. Kristen Milioti should be very happy that there was no lead actress nominee for Adolescence, because that opened the door to her winning. Something that I did point out in my video, what I loved was you have the pit and you have the studio winning Best Drama, Best Comedy.
Right.
Unless my research department, which is me, failed spectacularly. I believe this is the first year since 1988.
Wow.
Where the winner of Best Comedy and Best Drama were season 1 shows.
Were debut shows.
It was 30-something and the Wonder Years.
Oh, wow.
Was the last time that happened. So it's great to see the Emmys. They so often fall into that pattern of picking a show and staying with it for 4 or 5, Modern Family, however many times, Game of Thrones, however many times. So it's not that they don't deserve it, but it's hard for the new shows to break in. Yeah. And I love that we got 2 new shows that broke in right off the bat.
Yeah, The Bear is one that went home empty-handed. A lot of people have been giving a lot of adulation and love and awards love to The Bear. So to see it getting completely wiped out last night was a little surprising. Abbott Elementary had gotten some awards in the past. That didn't get much either. So you're right. These debut shows coming in, and really 2 completely different types of shows. One more of a procedural, and one a little bit more of the inside Hollywood stuff. And you might argue, well, of course, as we know, Dan, Hollywood loves to award itself when it does shows or films about itself. But this one I thought was a really brilliant takedown of Hollywood, while also respecting Hollywood and loving Hollywood at the same time. And that's usually the best kind of criticism, I think, is making fun of something that you love because it has a heart at the center of all the ribbing that you're giving it.
And that's what I loved about the studio is that it's one of the few shows on Apple TV Plus that I actually did sit down and watch. And I loved that it wasn't just, we're going to do a show about Hollywood. I thought it was really smartly written. Yeah. And technically, really impressively done. And the performances I thought were all really good. So it was a great intersection of, it did have that leg up being about Hollywood, but I think that it actually was also worthy. It wasn't just coasting on the concept or coasting on the idea. Right. And it was one of the funniest shows I saw last year. So it's great to see a comedy series winning in the comedy series category.
A little shot,
which is apparently something you have to worry about now.
That's for sure.
People on my channel are sick of hearing me talk about it, but it does annoy me. It annoys me.
It annoys you that The Bear is in the nomination category?
Yes, it's not a comedy.
Right. It is a drama. That's for sure. There are humorous moments within the show, but it's more about life humor than it is about jokes, right?
Yes, exactly.
I disagree with you there. Well, what about The Pit? Are you impressed by what The Pit was able to do? And Severance to a little bit of a lesser degree with some of the acting stuff. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, they're both really good shows. I like both of them. I like both of them a lot. I think that it was one of those years where it was a really stacked category. I mean, there were a lot of really good things that were up for voting, and I think if you saw the vote totals, they'd be pretty close. I think The Pit, what may have given it the leg up is it is a more, if you want to call it quote unquote traditional show. Yeah, traditional. Severance is a little bit headier. And so I think that may have contributed to The Pit coming in. But again, when you look at the performances that won and the show itself, I mean, if I was going to rank, I don't watch enough TV to do like a year in ranking for TV shows. But if I was going to rank the shows, I mean, The Pit and Severance would be right up there at the top. They're both really, really good shows. I think the letdown that people might be thinking about with Severance is just because it led all shows and nominations. And so there's that expectation that you're then going to, then it's yours to take. But I think it was a pretty healthy competition.
Yeah, I think you talk about The Pit, Andor, The Diplomat, The Last of Us, Paradise, Severance, Slow Horses, The White Lotus. That's a murderer's row of shows. And there are some shows that didn't make the cut that could have arguably made the cut to be included as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of great drama series that are out there, but this is the cream of the crop. If they had given it to Andor or Slow Horses or Severance over The Pit, I would not have been surprised. But the fact that The Pit became like this pop culture thing, like everybody had to watch it. Everybody loved it. Noah Wyle coming in, of course, from ER and all these other things that he's done in the past. People had a sentiment for him. He's an older actor now, so he brings much more weight to his delivery. And then all these actors that have come through, some that were building up, some that were kind of known, working together with great chemistry to deliver a fantastic first season. And now everyone's looking forward to the second season, which is like 3 months away. So fascinating stuff.
I assumed that he'd won an Emmy before. When they said this is his first win, I'm like, no. Like, he must have won a supporting Emmy at some point. No, never. So it's great for him, and he really seems to be enthusiastic about the what that show represents. Not just that he's playing this role. Like, he really does seem to be engaged with the reality of it and making sure that it's an accurate portrayal, and wanting to do justice to that, to very important people in society. So I like that. And I was happy to see him win.
Yeah, and then Severance getting, of course, Trammell Tillman and Britt Lower being, so there was enough to spread around in the drama category, where it wasn't just, as you said, like some shows it's just a clean sweep that year. There was enough balance here to give love to Severance, to give love even to Andor with Dan Gilroy's writing, and to give love to The Pit for its performances and for the show overall. I think that's a positive sign about the Academy understanding how great these shows are and awarding these shows in the proper categories.
Yeah, I agree. I was really happy to see Dan Gilroy win with Andor. You know, I think it should have been nominated for more.
Yes, agreed.
I think that Stellan Skarsgård should have been nominated. I think that Genevieve O'Reilly should have been nominated at a minimum. But that's the kind of show where usually a lot of times they get those nominations and the Academy's like, okay, well, see, that's your win. We nominated your little sci-fi show or your little horror show or whatever, and be happy with that and come put on a tuxedo and drink some booze and whatever. I was happy to see that they extended that to the and the episode that he won for, which is the Mon Mothma Senate episode, is a great one to choose.
Agreed. More poignant than ever. When you look at the comedy side of things, the studio beat out Abbott Elementary, as you said, The Bear, but also beat out Hacks, which I would argue, like, that is I love Hacks. That is a great show. I was happy to see Gene Smart win. I was happy to see Hannah Einbender win for writing, but like, this is some strong shows here. Shrinking. I loved that What We Do in the Shadows got a nomination. Like, what were your thoughts on the comedy side of things, Dan?
I don't watch it. I haven't watched as many of the ones in that category. Like Hacks, for example, I'm not. I've watched the first few episodes of in the first season, but I haven't caught up with it.
Right.
But What We Do in the Shadows, I think, is a great example of a show that is one of the ones where the Emmys go, your nomination is your win.
Yeah, right, 100%.
That's the kind of show where I think that most people would say, like, well, they're not going to give it to that, even though a lot of people do think that's the funniest show on television.
Yeah.
But Hacks could have become one of those juggernauts. Just like, okay, well, for the next 5 years, it's going to be Hacks, like it was Veep, like it was whatever they chose for some period of time. And I'm glad that they have instead. Now we'll see if the studio becomes that now. It's very possible.
Yeah, there's a second season coming, supposedly,
Yeah, so we'll see. But I just like to see this year more than almost any other year I can remember. I just love to see how much they spread the love around. And Hannah Einbinder is another one who, because Hacks has won so much, I assumed that she'd already won for the show, and she hadn't. So for her to get a win is great. And I just love to see the variety of different shows last night.
I agree. Lisa Colon-Zayas won for The Bear last year. So Hannah winning this year. I think this was a stronger season for Hannah, so it made sense that she got that edge in the end over some really strong actresses throughout the category. What about Jeff Hiller winning? I mean, I think that was a massive surprise. I think a lot of people thought, because of the Sal Saperstein thing. Can I tell you, I'm so done with that. Thank you, everybody who participated in that. But I'm so happy that they did not do that throughout the Emmys and all of that nonsense. I like that we're done with that kind of stuff. But I thought Ike Barinholtz would absolutely have the edge, or even Harrison Ford over Jeff Hiller. But this was a hell of a shocking win for him. And what a commentary on the show to encourage people to watch the show. And I thought his speech was absolutely fantastic. So, yeah.
And it's great to see one of those actors that you recognize, but you don't know where he's from and you don't know his name. And the fact that he gets a moment in the spotlight and wins over Harrison Ford and even Eben Moss-Backrack, who's always great in The Bear. I mean, he really, I think that's another example of a really stacked category that just became a free-for-all because there were so many different people split between who they're going to vote for.
Yeah.
And the Sal Saperstein thing, I actually read Seth Rogen, someone asked him about it, and I respect what he said. He said, it would be corny for us to go up and make our own joke.
Yep.
No, we're not going to do that because it would just be, that just seems weird. I'm like, I respect that.
Yep. I agree 100%. When you look at the lead actress, or sorry, the limited or anthology series stuff, Adolescence winning, as we said already, not a surprise. That seemed like the odds-on favorite there, although the Penguin probably gave it a run for its money to a degree. But Milioti, that was a beautiful minute and a half speech. That was just as a former actor, seeing an actor win for something that they probably weren't sure they were going to even be nominated for, let alone win. That to me felt such an organic and pure expression of a confirmation that you are good at what you do. And that yell at the end of the speech is just like, that excitement when your team wins and you just happen to be your team. And I thought that was just a fantastic speech. And it did surprise me that she won. I mean, beating out Kate Blanchett, Rashida Jones, Michelle Williams, Megan Fahey, that's not an easy bunch of ladies to be beaten for a category like acting. So she should feel really proud about that. Were you surprised by this win?
Not really. I feel like it was sort of one of those things where she started off as maybe an underdog, but has picked up a lot of momentum. And especially because the Penguin got shut out in so many other categories. I'm sure, I bet that Stephen Graham Colin Farrell race was very tight.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that was a blowout. I think that some of Adolescence's wins were probably not very close, but that was such a tight race there, and I'm glad that she got the opportunity to win in that category. And it was a great speech. And I was watching at home. I was curious who was making the call on when they were going to put up the losing charity money clock for which winners and who doesn't get it. I was not. I said in my video, I get the bit. It's a funny concept, but I did not like it when they put it on the screen while people were talking, because it just undercuts their moment. Yeah. And then it becomes about the show, and it doesn't become about them. And so I don't necessarily like how they did that. I'm glad they did not choose to do that during her speech, which was very genuine and very heartfelt. And you shouldn't make her feel like she has to rush that moment, as long as she's not Adrian Brodying it up there and doing a 5-minute monologue,
Right. Agreed. Yeah, I thought that was. I mean, I think Nate was. I think it was a little past Nate to host the show. I don't think he was the greatest host. It wasn't as bad as Joe Coy, but I think Nate's I love Nate's stand-ups. Like, I love his stand-ups.
He's great. He's a fantastic stand-up. Yeah,
I agree 100%. I just think the show was a little bit past him at this stage in his career. Like, you look at what Nikki Glaser did, and she killed it. And then Nate just comes along and you can see the difference in hosting. And I agree with you. The boys and girls, listen. The Boys and Girls Club is a fantastic charity, and it's awesome that they're helping young people in the situations that they're in. But when you put that up there, in essence, you're undercutting people who are here, as you said, Dan, undercutting people who have. Listen, I know we want to hate Hollywood, and it's cool to hate Hollywood and hate actors and all of that, but let me tell you something. Actors work hard. They work really hard. Their emotions, their creativity, their humanity is on display there when they're trying to win these awards, trying to deliver great work, and then possibly winning awards. They do matter to actors who are in the building. Yes, I know it's cool to crap on awards and cool to crap on actors and whatever, but a majority of actors never make it. 2% of actors make it. 2 to 3%, I think it is what it is, make it. Oh, no, sorry. 5% of actors make it. 2 to 3% make it at the Tom Hanks type of level, So it's such a brutal and ruthless business. So just kind of dismissing actors, and I know there are some pompous ones, there are some arrogant ones. We cover them on the hot mic every week, but I think it's important to have these moments to let actors say what they need to say. I think there was a better way to do this, because you're in essence saying, hey, if you go too long, you're shitting on children. And I thought that was the dumbest concept over. I guess it was funny in the pitch, but in the execution, it's like a bad SNL sketch. And I just thought
that's the thing. Yeah, it was a funny idea. And if they had just kept it to what they did, actually, they still did during the show, which is to check in between speeches where you say, what's the total at right now? And then you look and it's, down to 20,000. That's fine. Right. For me, it was just the idea of putting it up there. And you could also tell that it was on the screen in the theater.
Yes.
So the audience could see it too. And so then the audience is reacting to that, and they're not paying attention to what the person is saying, but leave it to the winner to decide whether because I thought it was great that, John Oliver, both times they decided they were going to do a really quick one. And then that's fun. But I just think they overplayed that hand a little bit. And it was also really the only bit that they had all night. It was the only real comedy bit. And I read, and this could be wrong, but I was doing some reading, and I read that he had tour dates like Friday night and Saturday night. And so he wasn't couldn't be there. If that's fake news, I apologize, but that's just I was trying to kind of read up a little bit on him, and I think he's a great comedian. I really do, but in the amount of stuff and how they employed the bits, and then he just didn't have. And I know that part of it is his persona.
Yeah.
But you have to be a good award show host. You have to own that room. You have to command that room, command the audience's attention. Yeah. And he did. His whole thing's just like, I'm here. What? Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, okay. And in the lines, he would garble a lot of things, and it's like. I'm not, again, he's a funny dude, but if that was intentional because that's his energy, it's just not the right energy for an award show necessarily. No. And if that was sort of being nervous or unprepared, I think that's more what you were saying is like maybe he needs just a little bit more time before he's ready to be the guy on the show like the Emmys or the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, Nikki's been doing it a long time in terms of being a stand-up and all of that, and so she had to work her way to the point where she was able to deliver a great hosting thing. I think there's opportunities for Nate in the future if he works on what he's doing here. Because I agree with you. I get that we want to underplay it and award shows aren't that important. I know that's the cool attitude to have, and I totally get it. But I mean, you're disrespecting people who work really hard at their craft by doing that. And I know it's the cool, popular thing, but I do think it's insulting at times. And so hopefully, if he does do it again in the future, I mean, look at Ricky Gervais. As controversial as Ricky was for Golden Globes, you were interested to see what he was going to do next. And that's what you're alluding to, Dan, really well, is that you want to be excited when the host pops back up. Like, oh, what's going to happen now? Like, you want to see what he or she is going to do. And I didn't feel that way about Nate at all. And as I said, I love Nate's stand-up. And so I was really surprised at how much of a dud he was hosting the show to a degree. And so it was unfortunate. But
yeah, he made me laugh. I mean, I'm not going to say I've certainly seen hosts that did not make me laugh, and I think that's worse. He made me laugh.
Well, that's true.
But it was the energy. I think the energy just wasn't quite right for the show.
Yeah, I agree. All right, one last thing. Anything on the other stuff? Outstanding television movie, Rub Ridge, the reality competitions, Alan Cumming winning here, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which is clearly, because of everything that happened, that was the confirmation from the Academy that they support him. As you said, John Oliver. Arcane won for Outstanding Animated Program. I think a lot of people were excited about that. I thought SNL 50 winning was a bit of a shock because I did not think that special was that great.
Well, that's the thing with me, because I actually, I think it's okay to say this. I had a vote in that category.
Nice.
And I voted for because I thought that the SNL 50 Homecoming concert
that was awesome.
Was by far the superior live show.
100%.
The actual 50th anniversary was fine.
Yeah.
But the Homecoming concert, the number of musical acts and set changes and lighting and camera and the getting the right shot from the crowd and getting the performer, for me on a technical level and everything else, that was easily the superior live show to the SNL 50. That to me was the one that was the most like we're awarding Lorne Michaels, we're awarding Saturday Night Live, and so that's the one we're going to give it to. I felt that the concert was one of the best live events I've ever seen, as far on a production level.
Yeah, so many people were in the SNL 50 anniversary, especially. You imagine a majority of the Academy is friends with someone who was on that show, and maybe that influenced the votes. But I agree with you. I mean, I would put the Homecoming concert of those two. I would put the Homecoming concert, but I personally would have chosen the Super Bowl halftime show because there was no bigger cultural footprint than that Kendrick Lamar performance. That was a massive, massive thing globally. And I think that deserved much more love and the win overall here. But, I totally get it. Anything on the writing? Yeah, we saw all that stuff. I think we covered everything. Anything else you want to say about the Emmys before we go to a quick sponsor break here, Dan?
No, I feel like this was... Award shows seem cursed to have either the great winners and a not so great host, or a great host and not so great winners. Like, it'd be great if we could. Well, actually, you know what? I will say one thing, and I'll bring and I'm sorry for people that already watched my video because I brought this up there, but I think it's worth saying. My biggest gripe was not with Nate Bargatze, was not with any of the people who won, anything like that. My biggest gripe with the show, they did not show 1 second of clips from any of the shows. Not 1 second of a performance, not 1 second of a series, nothing. You saw absolutely no moments from the series, no reason to get you to watch it, and I don't understand that. All the award shows have gone to it. The Oscars barely show clips for any shows. And That really bothered me because this, I think, for the television industry,
Yeah.
this is their opportunity every single year to get their show out there, maybe to an audience that somebody who was a fan of Severance but hadn't seen The Pit, or somebody that liked The Bear but hadn't seen Adolescence. And you get a chance to show off the best that television has to offer. And they showed not even very few clips, they showed literally nothing from any show other than audio over reading the nominees.
Right.
I do not understand that decision. It is a dumb decision. And I guess maybe they think that if you're watching the Emmys, you've already seen the shows, but it is just it's dumb on a marketing level.
Yeah.
Because that is your chance to get eyes on a show. I remember the British Office, the first time I heard of it was on the Golden Globes. Because they nominated it, and instead of just, if they did it the way they did now, they'd say The Office, blah, 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 and you'd see like a picture of Ricky Gervais, but I have no idea what the show was, but they would show clips, and I would see, and I'd go, wow, that looks funny. Yeah. And that got me interested in saying, I got to find this show, and they don't do that anymore, and I don't get it. It's a stupid thing. It's a stupid decision.
It's a fair point. It's 100% a fair point, man. Yeah, it's a great commentary to make on that, and if anybody from the Academy, the Emmys, happens to be watching us right now or listening to us right now, make that change.
I'm a member. It's a member complaint. Lodge this as a member complaint.
Put it in the box.
Put it in the box. Yeah, put it in the suggestion box.
All right. Well, there you go. Let me let's go to a solo thing, Dan. And all right, thank you guys for watching this first segment. Dan and I will be back in just a second, but we've got 16 super chats, so make sure you're sending in more here as we get along. We're trying to get to 100 super chats. We'll answer them at the end of the show. But what are your thoughts about the Emmys? Let us know what you're feeling about this. Send in your super chat. Send in your thoughts. If you're watching this later, put your commentary about the Emmys. What stood out to you? Do you agree with Dan's commentaries on this? Do you agree with Dan's points of views on some of these opinions or my opinions? Let us know down in the comments section. All right, hang on. We'll be right back after this quick sponsor break and talking about the box office, talking about Batman Part 2, talking about more stuff like DC versus Marvel here and some Star Wars stuff right after this.
Oh, man, I'm so glad to finally talk to you guys about Cash App. I've been using Cash App forever, and now I get to talk to you guys about it. Don't worry. It's very easy, fast to sign up. Do you even know how much interest your money is earning you in your bank account right now? Well, let me tell you some stuff. Cash App can do way more than you think to make your money work for you. If you direct deposit at least $300 in paychecks each month and use the Cash App card for purchases, you can earn up to 4% annual interest on your savings. There's no hidden fees, no minimum balance requirements. Also, you can hit your saving goals even faster by turning on the Roundups feature on your Cash App card. With Roundups, every purchase you make using the card is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and that spare change is automatically put into your savings. Don't let your money sit around and gather dust. Make it work for you. Take advantage of high interest savings on Cash App today. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code and earn some additional cash. For real, just download the Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, Kristian, in your profile, send $5 to a friend. Within 14 days, you're going to get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial service platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partner. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC, direct deposit, roundups, overdraft coverage, and discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosure.
There we go. All right, good stuff. Cash App. Make sure you support them and use the code so that they come back and keep supporting the Kristian Harloff Show. You know how this works. I'm not telling you anything new. All right, let's bring Dan back into the situation here. Dan, let's move on to some other stuff we want to talk about. Let's move into your territory, and that is the box office.
Oh, it's going to be the rest of my day today. Yep. As soon as we're done here, we jump into that.
Let's get into it here. All right, let me read this real quick, Dan, and then we'll get your thoughts on this. Between the net, let's see here. Demons are hot at the global box office. Between that Netflix K-pop girl band last month, Etta Lorraine Warren, and a famed anime franchise's eventful ending, it seems Demon and their Hunter Slayer's exercises are hot business. Crunchyroll's Demon Slayer, I'm not going to try to say that, is coming in on the highest end of expectations domestically. The title made over $21 million on Saturday and now seems set for a massive $70 million opening weekend. The title also hit a bunch of international markets this weekend, pulling in an additional $62.1 million, bringing it up to a global weekend haul of $132 million. To date, worldwide, the title is up to $386.2 million, which are astonishing numbers for what is an R-rated 155-minute film. The Conjuring Last Rites dropped 69% domestically with $26.1 million, but still up to $131 million. Internationally, though, the film, sorry, y'all, is still powering through with an additional $60.5 million, and globally hit a very strong $332.9 million. Downton Abbey, which I will be seeing this afternoon, the grand finale, came in third domestically with $18.1 million, which is shocking to me that it even got that much, with a further $12.3 million from international markets, bringing its worldwide total to $30.4 million. And rounding out the top five domestically, sadly, was The Long Walk with $11.5 million, and the Toy Story re-release, which got $3.5 million. So, Dan, a lot of interesting numbers there in the box office. What stands out to you? What surprised you, or what do you take from all of this?
I was just looking at the latest numbers. They've the estimate's now 70.6 for Demon Slayer. So a lot of times when you see them revise that estimate up, that means it might even come in a little bit higher today. We'll see what it looks like. Anime does tend to be front loaded, so we'll see what the final number is. I mean, I'm a Demon Slayer fan. I was part of that group. I went and saw it this past weekend. I think the first thing, this doesn't surprise me that much.
Okay.
Last week, The Conjuring absolutely shocked me.
Yeah.
With what it did, and I think that the big picture thing that I'm looking at is, even I was saying after as we wrapped up summer movie season, I said, "Well, man, the box office is just going to be trying to tread water till we get to holidays, because it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to really." And now we've had two really good weekends in a row. I'm not shocked that Conjuring dropped the way that it did. That's what I call a horror movie drop. Horror, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, especially a movie like Conjuring, which is, not necessarily enthusiastically received by audiences. Yeah. It's just that people rush in because they want to go on the ride. It doesn't shock me that it dropped that much. But Demon Slayer, the $70.6 million, I mean, that's great. And it's great for the box office. It's great for Crunchyroll. I think that we're just going to see that, unless people lose interest over the next few years, I think we're just going to see that build, because we got two more in the Infinity Castle series as we wrap up the anime. So it's great for the box office, and I'm happy to see it's doing well. An anime movie opening to $70.6 million. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, Netflix came out a few weeks ago. I'm sure you saw it, Dan. The comment. I don't know if it was Sarandis or someone below Sarandis who said that anime constitutes like 50% of their views monthly or yearly on the streaming service, and so it is building and getting stronger in its influence and in its crossing over. As we become more of a global entertainment audience, we have access to more stuff. I grew up in a time in the 80s and 90s where anime was like something you had to find in a brown paper bag because some sweaty nerdy dude recorded it off some situation or went to Japan with his parents. Or you had to pay like hundreds of dollars for the imported VHSs that would come, and they wouldn't even come with English subtitles. So, I remember those days. So to see how anime has progressed, and, you look at Akira, you look at Ghost in the Shell, the kind of laying the groundwork back in those days to what we have now, which is a global brand like this, where people have easy access to these shows and easy access to these movies. So it's no surprise that it's growing. And people talk about where are the younger generation putting their money? What are they watching? What are they into? And it's clear that anime is a big, big deal with younger people. And of course, there are still older people watching, but really the young audience that's into it. And here's some more information behind this thing with Demon Slayer. It's the 6th biggest opening of September ever. In addition, the best ever for an anime movie. And it's the best for Sony Pictures over the last 2 years. It's the best opening for Sony. And to add to what you were saying, Dan, there was a per Screen Engine ComScore's post-track, which I don't know how much credit you put into that, but there was very little walk-up business at 33%, with 67% of the audience buying tickets in advance. This is something you were alluding to, I think. Sources tell this writer here at Deadline, that is Anthony D'Alessandro, of course, Anthony. Sources tell me that the audience did expand beyond the core yesterday, evident in its great word of mouth and a 98% audience score. Not to mention, the movie didn't just play in NYC and LA, core box office epicenters, but the outlier markets as well. Regal Irvine in the OC, still the top grossing venue in the country with 167,000 for those screenings. So pretty incredible stuff. And it was The 55, it was pretty split evenly between the subtitle and the original Japanese one, the English audio rather. And so fascinating stuff here, Dan, with when you look at the power of this particular film.
Yeah, I saw it dubbed. That's how I watched it initially on Netflix. That's there seems to be that was initially a subject of great ridicule for me watching dub, but it seems like that's kind of going away even among anime fans. Part of it is because I think that the dub cast for the show is very good. I have watched shows dubbed before and switched back to Japanese. I just like if the dub cast is good, I like to watch it dubbed the first time because I can enjoy the visuals and I'm not going back and forth and reading, and also especially a show like Demon Slayer, which is so beautifully animated. The pre-sale thing doesn't shock me because you had to. They were selling out. You had to buy your tickets ahead of time because the screenings were all selling out. So that just speaks to the popularity of the movie. And I think that next weekend's going to be very interesting because traditionally when we look at anime, and a lot of it is much smaller openings and much more niche shows, but it's not unusual for an anime movie to fall 70-80% in week number 2 because the demand just gets burned out all in the first week. So I'm going to be very curious to see what it does in weekend number 2 because I think that's going to speak a lot to how much has it expanded its base, or did it turn everybody out the first weekend and you're not bringing in people in weekend number 2. That's going to be an interesting thing to watch.
It's a 2.5-hour movie too. Like it's not like a quick hour and 40. Like it's pretty amazing.
It's long.
How it was. I was able to get that kind of a situation here. And when you talk about the dub cast, I think I saw a video on YouTube about a minute long where they were highlighting the numerous voiceover actors who are part of it. And Channing Tatum is one of the voiceover actors that's a part of this. Abby Trott is a very well-known voiceover actress, is a part of this as well. And so Rebecca Wong, there's quite a lot of good English voiceover actors who come in to dub the dubbed Japanese language and do the subtitles. So I think it's great, So now, what about the other movies? I mean, Long Walk 11.5. Were you surprised by that? Downton Abbey doing 18 million domestically. Were you considering it's the last one of all that's still going, this franchise? Are you surprised by any of the other numbers in the box?
I mean, I think that's all good news.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Long Walk, it's a Stephen King adaptation, but it's not tied to it's not like, Carrie or Cujo or one of his more well-known books. So the fact that you can get people out to see The Long Walk, not really horror forward necessarily, more of this just sort of suspense. That was on my list this weekend. I was all over the place this weekend. I was in and out of town, so that's on. I want to see that movie very much. And to get $18.1 million for Downton Abbey, I mean, that's an older audience. Usually very reticent to, you don't often see big opening weekends, first weekends. A lot of times it's a bit of a slower burn. So to get 18.1 million out, I think the finale element probably played a lot into it. I mean, I look up and down, top to bottom pretty much. I mean, Spinal Tap 2 is really the only one that I look at and I'm like, well, that would have been nice if it had done better because it really didn't do well at all. And it wasn't a terrible movie, but that's also, it's not a huge distributor. It's Bleecker Street.
Right.
That's unfortunately, Bleecker Street puts out some good movies, but a lot of times if I'm covering Sundance or something and I see that it got just acquired by Bleecker Street, I'll just say like, oh, well, you probably won't get a chance to see it near you, but look for it on streaming because they're just not up there with the other big leagues. I was surprised that Spinal Tap 2 was with a distributor that small, but
you talk about amended numbers. I'm just looking now as I'm catching up on all this stuff. It looks like Downton Abbey was actually 19.5 in it, and which is pretty amazing. And it's higher than the previous title, which was The New Era, I guess, which opened at 16. So
interesting.
I think you're talking about the idea of it being the last one and what have you. So I understand that energy, wanting to see it, because that's the way I mean, I watched that series from the beginning. I do have a soft spot for period British pieces. It's my thing, and so seeing this kind of like Sanditon and all these other ones that I've seen. So I'm excited to see it this afternoon. But like you, I was caught up with all kinds of stuff. I'd seen Long Walk already. I'm not going to go see Demon Slayer until I catch up on it, because I was talking to a few anime fans that follow me, and they were like, "Oh no, you have to have seen this other stuff."
There's no previously on. There's no conversation where somebody talks to somebody else to fill in anybody in the theater who might not know who there's no. There are characters introduced who have never been introduced before, and you just got to figure it out. And I mean, that's for fans of the show. I was playing a game with myself watching it because I did a refresher.
Yeah.
To remind myself, because it's been about a year since the last season aired, and even given that, I was sitting there going like, okay, wait a minute now. Is this a new character, or do I just not remember who they are? Because they'll treat new characters like they're people that you know, and you just got to catch up because the structure of the show is a lot of times is fight or action, resolution, and then they'll go back and tell you who this person is, or they'll fill in the backstory. So it's already sort of you're catching up if you know everything,
right?
And if you don't know, I mean, enjoy the animation. The animation's great, but there's no hand holding.
Let alone they should hand out study guides for people to have before the movie starts. They can watch it during the or they read it during the commercials. There's 20.
There you go.
I'm going to cheat and ask you one last question. What's your feeling for this weekend's box office? Him is opening. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey is opening. The Michael Chiklis, the senior, which might get a little bit of attention from the older audience and from the religious audience there. I think those are the name ones that are opening this weekend. What are your thoughts on where do you think it's going to go with those? I mean, I haven't seen much for Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Him, I think, has gotten a lot of publicity and press, being Jordan Peele and what have you. So what do you anticipate here?
I haven't. I mean, if you watch charts, you know I don't put a whole lot of stock in tracking, but I haven't even seen the tracking for him. I've just got a feeling about it.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that it could break out.
Okay.
The reviews aren't out yet.
Not yet.
I think they hit tomorrow.
Yeah, they're screening.
I decided not to make the trip to do the screening, so I'm going to have my reviews going to be out when it hits. But I've just had it for a while now. I've just had a feeling about him. I don't know. It could be wrong, but it seems like the kind of movie that could surprise some people.
Yeah.
Especially if it's good. If the reviews are great, I could really see it being maybe we make it 3 in a row with a great, really solid number one.
I mean, it's smart to drop it right in the middle of college football and NFL season. So people are already in that mindset. And you add Jordan Peele's name to the whole production, that just gets people interested to see what it's going to be because it looks like a very unusual film. So I'm curious to see how people respond to it. I don't anticipate Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey doing much at the box office because there hasn't been much talk about that movie. But you do have Margot Robbie, you do have Colin Farrell, of course, with the Penguin and Barbie. But I don't know necessarily how much that's going to do. But I agree with you. I think him's gonna do well at the box office. And right now I'm looking at some of the tracking here, and as you say, you don't put a lot of stock in it, but some of the 6-week box office tracking and forecast here: him 20 to 30 million, and Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey 13 to 18. Those are domestic numbers. We'll see if they match that or
that
blow
seems
past.
a little low on him, and maybe a little high on Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. But the box office has been doing crazy things lately.
Yeah,
it's hard to predict. It's getting harder to predict, and I think it's because there's some. I don't know. We're still finding the new normal. What's the new normal? What should our expectations even be?
Right.
It's still hard to figure that out, and it's 2025, but it's it's crazy.
I've been told that 800 million is the new billion, and I need to I need to stop adjusting. I need to accept that, and so all right.
I don't think that's necessarily an irrational point of view. Honestly, I don't.
All right. All right, well, let's move on to some other stuff here, Dan. Let's get into some. What do we want to get into? We got the Emmys. We got the where's the Batman stuff? Let's get into some Batman stuff. You in the mood for some Batman stuff? You're gonna get in trouble with this?
I'm always in the mood for some Batman stuff. You know me. I'm a big Batman guy.
All right, well, let's get to it here. The Batman Part 2. Here we go. The Batman Part 2. Despite last night's Emmy win for the Penguin, Matt Reeves confirmed to MTV that Kristen Milioti will not return. I got to put myself here. Sorry about that. Will not return to be part of the Batman Part 2. That is confirmed by Matt Reeves as well. And I've got another thing to throw in here for you all that I want to share real quick because I wanted a bigger breakdown of this. And this is from comicbookmovie.com, who I love, and I know Kristian does as well. But Mark Cassidy wrote this article breaking down some of the stuff that Matt Reeves answered on the red carpet. Here's what he said. He declined to share any specific plot details, but Reeves did confirm that production is scheduled to get underway early next year. We're staffing up, we're starting to get our crew back together, we're getting ready, we're basically entering pre-production. We're making the movie in the spring. Super excited, he told THR. Because of what the first movie was and what the Batman Part 2 is, which is so much a detective story. The idea of trying to protect the secrets of the movie is super important because it's a mystery. Oh, good luck, Matt. That would be an extra level of heartbreak if that part of it started getting out. You want to keep the surprise so the fans can have the fun experience that I always love going to the movies, which was to go and be surprised. He further went on to say he's Batman when he gave the script to Robert Pattinson. So if he doesn't like it, it's not good. So I was super excited because I thought that he would really like it, because the things that it does for his character, for Batman and for Bruce Wayne, has never been done before in this way. And I had a feeling he would respond in the way the fact that he did. Sorry. And I had a feeling he would respond in this way. The fact that he did was incredibly encouraging. So, Dan, now we have more than 6 people who've read the script now officially. So this is an interesting situation we find ourselves in. But what do you think about Matt Reeves' comments here? I mean, there seems to be not a lot to parse out of this, but there sure seems to be an energy of excitement. And are you surprised that Kristen Milioti, recent Emmy winner, is not going to come back? And his reasons are they were too deep into the story to bring her back.
Yeah, there's no reason to jam her in there if there's not a role for her character to play, and they left her in a place where I think it would be difficult to get her involved specifically, unless you were going super Penguin heavy, which it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing. I always love, in stories like that, and I get it. You have a job to do as a reporter, but it's like he declined to share plot specifics. Yeah, of course he did. You'd be like, oh, so Matt, what happens in the Batman 2? Well, okay, so in Act 1, people are really going to be crazy about this. We're bringing in this character. It's a super surprise casting. Nobody knows about it. In Act 3, we kill this person and we're leaving it. Of course he declined to share plot specifics. He's not going to spoil his movie on the red carpet of the Emmys. But that's just part of the game. I get it. I'm just glad that the wheels are moving. I was not part of this super impatient tapping my foot like, hello, script, where is it? I would much rather you take the time to get it done. My only concern is that there could be a loss of audience interest if you wait too long.
Yes.
But if it results in a great movie and that's the time it took, then that's the time it took. It's just how it is. I just, I don't know. The frenzy around this movie seems to be more intense, but I think that may just be the new norm for DC.
I think because people like that Superman movie. I watched about an hour of it again over the weekend because it's available on digital and what have you. And so, I really love the energy of that movie. And I know Dan had some legitimate criticisms of Superman, so I'm not trying to start this conversation all over again, but I really enjoyed the film for the energy that it brought. Did I have issues with some of the story stuff? Did I have issues that it was slightly overstuffed and was essentially setting up the entire universe instead of focusing on Superman? Yes, I understood Dan's criticisms for sure. But I think it excited people. And this is the other side of the coin. When you excite people, they want to keep being excited about it. They want to keep being fed that excitement. So I think that's what the fervor is around it. And I agree with you. I wasn't one of these people like, Matt Reeves, where's the script? It was more like, what's the truth? That's the place I'm at. What's really going on here? We saw some logos from the Batman logo on a dumpster or a trash can that was there on the set of Clayface. James Gunn seemed to insinuate that this was something he did not approve, or even maybe in his, if you look, read between the lines, maybe saying that it was proved past him, like maybe David Zaslav said that it was okay to do that. I don't know what he meant by that, but the other people are saying that was put on there or superimposed on there. So there's all kinds of fervor around whether the Batman is going to cross over into the DC universe of James Gunn. I think that's the big thing that people are squaring away. And what are your thoughts on that, Dan? As you say, you like to enjoy the Batman. Talk about it.
I do. I just James Gunn has such an interesting job. I just imagine him sitting in his office. He's just announced Man of Tomorrow and getting that. And he's obviously got to get that script ready to go because the production timeline on that's coming down. And he's got Supergirl. I'm sure they're deep into the edit on Supergirl. He's working on that. Clayface, I'm sure he's deep in that. Batman Part 2, they're ramping up for that. I just imagine him trying to get all of that done and somebody bursting into his office and being like, we've got a problem. Somebody put a sticker on a trash can and people are freaking out. And now he has to take time out of his day to explain why an art director who was probably a Batman fan put a sticker on a trash can that nobody is going to be able to see in the movie. But because everything gets photographed and spread around now, he's got to address trash can discourse. He has a very interesting job. Yeah. It's either an art director that's having a little fun in the Batman universe, or they've got something cooked up that they want to surprise people about. But this idea of like, what's going on? what is going on with this sticker? Why is the sticker on this dumpster? It's like, does it matter? I mean, come on, let's focus on some bigger things here. We got bigger fish to fry.
Dan, how dare you come for everyone's YouTube channel? How dare you, Dan Murrel?
Listen, this is why I'm on my own. This is why I'm alone in a spare bedroom. It's because I don't engage in sticker discourse, and my channel suffers for it.
I feel you, brother. I feel you. Sometimes, we talked about it on the Geek Buddies, and Michael had basically said, we don't even know if this was AI or superimposed. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's a great point. We don't know what the situation is, but it's
enhance,
fervor.
Enhance,
right? Exactly, like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So, but I think it speaks to the excitement that this is part of it. As I said, this is the flip side of the coin. You want to do well, and Superman did well for what they were trying to do in terms of getting the fan base excited. Yeah, box office wise, you can argue the numbers and all of that, but like it got the fan base excited. But the thing is, people want to now see more, and so they get excited about it. So we'll see, and we'll see if Matt Reeves can keep it under wraps. Do you buy that he said that they're having talks about the Penguin season 2? Like, do you think, like, does it feel to you like the Matt Reeves universe is just going to play itself out and then be done? Do you think he's actually having talks about the Penguin season 2? I'm kind of on the fence on this. I don't know if I believe him.
I mean, first of all, if they are, then Kristen Milioti won an Emmy in the wrong category. That's supposed to be it's supposed to be one and done if you're in that category. That's why Shogun moved to drama last year, because they were like, well, no, we want to do season 2. It's like, all right, well then we should go to the drama category. The thing for me is always, you need to do what makes sense. If he has a story, if he has an idea that he's excited about to delve further into this character, and Colin Farrell and everybody else and Kristen Milioti say, okay, yeah, let's do it, then great. But this idea of like, let's do it just to do it. Let's do it because it was popular. It should always be idea forward.
Yeah.
And if they never did another season of The Penguin, I would be fine with that, because I think that it was a great origin of that version of the character, and told a complete story, and you saw his entire arc from beginning to end, and you can use that character in the Batman series going forward without any more backstory or exposition. If they have an idea, if they want to go deeper into the underworld, then great. But I think the worst thing you can do is to go forward with a season 2 because you feel obligated to, or because you feel like, oh well, it'd be stupid not to because of all the money. Because then you get into Joker, which that's a whole other thing with Joker 2. I don't think that they did it just for the money, but I also don't think that there was as much thought put into that movie as there should have been.
I think I agree with you. I think they rushed that story, and we saw the result of it on screen, regardless of Quentin Tarantino thinks about it. You saw the result of what the public felt about that movie on screen. And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, look, it took 5 years for them to get this Batman the Part 2 script done. I mean, the Penguin, they had been essentially, Matt Reeves had hinted at working on the Penguin while the Batman was happening. So he clearly had an idea of this, with Lauren LaFranc working on it as well. But this is a different situation now. And I think because of James Gunn's DC, because when he did the Batman, that wasn't in motion. Now that James Gunn's DC is in motion, it's about figuring out where all these pieces fit. And now you've got the possibility that Paramount might be buying DC, or Warner Brothers, rather, in essence, buying DC. Then there's so many moving parts to this whole thing that we're not. I mean, we could. I don't think it's going to happen, because I said this on the hot mic. I think that if this is really in motion, I think behind the scenes there are conversations happening with James Gunn. Listen, if we buy this thing, we want to continue the DC universe, you in charge, or if we buy this thing, we're going to move you out. Like, there's a number of things that could be happening behind the scenes and conversations that are happening amongst people's agents or power brokers with all of this. But like, there are so many moving pieces to this, Dan, still. So it's a different world now for him to create a Penguin season 2 and the Batman.
Yeah, that would be. God,
I'm with you, bro. I can't go through another DC revamp again. I just can't.
Or just combining Paramount and Warner Bros. It's like, it's just. I understand that it's going to go through if they decide to do it, because the idea of regulating that sort of thing is pretty much out the window at this point. But it's just so discouraging to think about another mega merger like that happening, even though it's been said from the beginning that's what Zaslav's plan was. It was going to sell it, flip it and sell it.
Yep, absolutely.
But,
it was a house that flipped. Yes.
I hope some cooler head somewhere prevails on that, because that would just be, I think, frankly, disastrous.
I agree. Less content.
And I no.
Less movies and more people losing jobs. This is not what Hollywood wants or needs right now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to some. By the way, everybody, we have 23 super chats. Let's get up there, man. Dan Murrel is taking time from his busy schedule to hang out with us. Let's get some super chats rolling through here. If you want to keep us on the air, super chats is the way to do so. If you enjoy Dan's opinions on things, points of views, my opinions, my point of views, send in your thoughts, questions, and comments there in the with super chats. And also, if you're watching this, leave us your comments. What do you think about the Batman Part 2 and everything that's going on, what Matt Reeves had to say, and of course, the box office as well. All right, let's move on to one more thing here, Dan. What else have we got on the horizon? Oh, the Mandalorian stuff. Let's get into some Star Wars stuff here, buddy boy.
DC to Star Wars. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Let's do it. It's like my old days on SJU.
Oh,
every day was a gauntlet.
Run through it all. This one will be quick, though. Rather than the fourth season, Lucasfilm is bringing back The Mandalorian as a movie. We all know this. But as reported by SFF Gazette, an official press release statement at the event says, and this is the event that was the Walt Disney Studios Marketing Expo in Shanghai, which we also saw the first possible images of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom in the stand-in there. Here's the quote, the press release. As the forces err in the galaxy and the Mandalorian's most adorable partner, Grogu has taken the world by storm with his mischievous and endearing charm since his debut. Grogu-themed merchandise spanning all channels, categories, and age groups will soon be available. The Grogu storm is about to hit. Garth over there at Dark Horizons is throwing his opinion out there that the quote forces air in the galaxy comment has already got some fans speculating that we may see the character outside this franchise, potentially even a more grown-up version in the film's set post Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this seems like logical that they would focus on Grogu, which was a massive star of Mandalorian and Grogu. Dan.
I mean, yeah, this is a blurb written to get marketers to buy toys. I mean, I don't know if I would take this as an announcement of the future of Star Wars canon. I think this is just trying to make sure that people sign contracts to make, what are those things, Labubu's and plushies and everything else. You know, they want Grogu on shelves next year when the movie comes out. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this was a flag in the ground for the future of the Star Wars universe, because quite frankly, I don't know if they know what the future of the Star Wars universe is going to be. And if the movie doesn't do well, then he won't be the focus of the next movies, because they won't make any more. Because I mean, we've seen that if the the sequel trilogy had been more successful going as it went, if the Rise of Skywalker had made $2 billion, I can promise you we probably would have already had a Rey movie or a Poe and Finn movie or something along those lines. But they didn't move forward with that because they're trying to gauge what the audience is interested in. So I wouldn't read too much into the tea leaves of that. I think they're just trying to get people to buy toys.
Yeah. And I think everything's in play right now. As you said, they're so just figuring out what the audience wants on the theatrical side of things. Everything's in play, and opening the door to doing more Grogu stuff seems like a no-brainer because that is the character that really has kind of blown up over the last few years out of the Star Wars franchise. No matter what the middling results or mixed results have been from people's reactions to a lot of Star Wars stuff recently, Grogu has kind of, or Baby Yoda has kind of risen above all of that. So
plus, isn't a more mature version of Grogu just Yoda?
I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, that's a great point. That's a great point.
I mean, I know not character wise, but wouldn't it just be sort of like Yoda, teen Yoda? Where would we go? Would we go teenage years? Would we middle age? Where would we be by that point?
It feels like we're following the Groot blueprint here. If we go like Baby Yoda playing video games, Baby Yoda being argumentative, teen Yoda rather getting argumentative and whatever, and teen Yoda dealing with life's problems. So we will see if that happens. And one more thing, I know that's a quick one. So let's do the DC versus Marvel thing. We were just talking about DC, Dan. This Variety wrote a pretty interesting article. I'm going to read some of this and get us into a little information for everyone as well. Industry trade paper Variety has done a lengthy piece on the health of 8 of the biggest film franchises, taking into account factors like audience interest, both domestic and overseas, as well as cost effectiveness and profitability. The results suggest all of the major franchises have some room for improvement, but some offer more hope than others. Plotted on a graph, taking into account both commercial potential and creative health, the biggest winner of the whole survey appears to be James Bond. What? The hiring of Denis Villeneuve to direct the next entry has the entire industry excited, but key to that will be the casting of who plays the next Bond. Coming off the worst of the survey was Star Trek, with one exec saying someone's going to have a disruptive approach for it to be relevant again. Star Wars didn't fare much better, as despite much more commercial potential creatively, it's seen as in a rut. The results causing the most discussion are for Marvel and DC, though. One top agent says while joining the MCU is, quote, still a crazy life-changing opportunity, they admit that, quote, I don't have as many clients asking to do one as they were 5 years ago. One exec says while the 2 Avengers are bulletproof, the, quote, standalone movies are in trouble because you feel like you can miss it now. Nothing is a close guarantee anymore. DC, on the other hand, is scored considerably higher on the creative health front. The best score outside of Bond, with one exec saying Gunn did the most important thing. The first movie he made was really good. Another is a little concerned the Supergirl and Clayface are the next cabs off the rank. I've never heard that phrase before.
So it's a new one for me. Yeah.
I don't know, cabs off the rank. Your thoughts on this, Dan? Anything surprising? This seems pretty logical from what we're seeing ourselves out there, right?
I mean, it sounds like a very subjective thing where it's just sort of like we polled a bunch of agents and stuff. I mean, it's not shocking that fewer people are calling about being in Marvel movies now than they were in 2019 when Endgame was coming out. It's I don't know. That whole thing just sounds to me more like, because James Bond, if we're just talking box office and stuff, like James Bond has a ceiling.
Yeah.
Has traditionally had a ceiling with a very few exceptions that the other ones don't have. And, Star Trek, same thing. Star Trek is traditionally, I mean, one of the problems with Star Trek, one of the reasons that they stopped making movies was that Paramount sort of outspent the demand for Star Trek and made movies like Star Trek Beyond that had such big budgets that the demand for it couldn't justify it. And now they've really, I don't know what they're doing with Star Trek now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that all seemed like pretty common sense stuff to me, which is that James Bond is the one X factor because nobody knows what's going to happen next. Marvel's on shaky ground because we've seen the results of that. Superman, DC's on an upswing because Superman was received certainly much better than a lot of DC films in the past, and Star Trek's kind of in the toilet right now. But there's nothing really surprising to me there. No.
I think the Bond stuff's a little surprising for me because, as you said, I mean, there's no like $2 billion Bond movie. Like all of these films have done collectively, or I guess you could maybe average out the gross. They've done really well, the DC Marvel stuff, overall compared to the Bond stuff. So I know Denis Villeneuve is an interesting idea, but shall I show you Denis Villeneuve's box office returns? I mean, he's not out here making $1 billion films himself consistently like James. If it was James Cameron, I could see it going to number 1. But like the fact that it's Denis, I think gets people excited, but I don't know if necessarily.
Well, that's the thing is that's, I think looking at the results of that, of all the ones they talked about, Bond is the one that is all potential right now.
Right.
So yes, the excitement is going to be through the roof because you have James Bond who's a popular character and you have Denis Villeneuve as a director, and that's all you have right now. You don't know who the new James Bond is going to be. That's exciting. You don't know what era it's going to be set in. That's exciting. So I feel like the reason it was at the top of the list is because you know the least about it.
Right.
So right now it's all anticipation because we don't know anything, whereas the other stuff is known quantities. We know what Marvel's going to do the next couple of years and what DC's got planned, and that Star Trek has nothing. And so, yeah, I mean, this to me, it seemed like more of a ranking of potential and what we know and what we don't know than like, well, these are, sort of logistically the franchises that are in the best shape.
Some people
agents are going to be most excited about James Bond because they want to put their clients in the movie.
Yeah,
they want their next client to be the next Bond girl or the next Bond villain. So yeah, of course they're excited about it. They want their next client to be the next James Bond. So they're super excited about it because they're like, yeah, get my people in there. Let's do it. Pump it up, baby.
Pump it up, baby. Pump it up. It'll probably be Chalamet. Anyway, but we'll see what the situation ends up being. But yeah, some people were reminding me that Skyfall made $1 billion. Yeah, I agree. So, yes, I know Skyfall.
Well, that's what I said to a point. There have been exceptions, yes,
right.
but
Like,
it's not all James Bond movies. Yes,
exactly. I mean, Marvel was making a run of $1 billion movies. That's the difference that I'm trying to say here in this moment. So yes, I know Skyfall made $1 billion. I respect that. What you guys,
James Bond is not a consistent $1 billion franchise.
Exactly, it does well,
like many of those others have been. Except Star Trek never has been, but Marvel, DC has been up there before. Yeah.
And I think Star Trek is, as you said, Dan. I love Star Trek. It is absolutely one of my favorite franchises, rather. But right now, with everything that's going on, because I love Strange New Worlds, I think it's great. But the idea of what movie we do next, the idea of Paramount being bought by Skydance, what is Ellison's point of view going to be on Star Trek? What does he want to do? So there's going to be changes. And I think their analysis that it has to shake the tree a little bit or shake things up a little bit to make it more relevant. I think that's a valid analysis when you look at Star Trek for sure.
It needs a shakeup. Star Trek needs a shakeup. Obviously, it needs a shakeup. I can tell you right now. I mean, I'm not a scooper. I don't have my ear to the ground like a lot of people do. My guess is that Ellison's plan for Star Trek is going to be make a bunch of money as quickly as possible.
That's right.
That's my guess.
Look for Sydney Sweeney to be the new captain of Star Trek. We will see. I know, because the Holly Hunter. I think it's great. Starfleet Academy. And me as a Trek head, I'm excited to see that show. Yeah. But I don't know how many people are banging down the door to watch Paul Giamatti and Holly Hunter going at it with a bunch of up and coming actors in a Starfleet Academy show. I don't know.
Star Trek fans will love it, but it has always been traditionally a fairly limited fan base, and occasionally you'll get a movie like a Star Trek 4 or an 09.
Yeah.
That breaks out a little bit into the mainstream a bit more, but you can't count on that audience being there consistently. That's always been the case.
And you could argue the great stuff that they've done recently is stuff that is reminiscent of the past. Picard season 3, and of course, Star Trek Strange New Worlds is very much the original series energy that it has overall. So, all right, let's get into some super. That's all the stuff. Let us know what you think about the Variety article and the Star Wars marketing stuff in the comment section, or let us know here through Super Chats. We have 31 Super Chats, Dan. I'm hoping we can get to 100 by the end of the show. We'll see how many we can get to.
Have to take a water break if we get to 100.
This is how you keep us on the air right now, is the Super Chat. So let's get into it, man. Let's start it off with Mark Long, who says, hi, have a good Monday, everyone. Oh, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. That was easy. All right.
Yeah. Dingus McNally says, trying to get Dan his first and maybe only win. Support for the boys. Thank you, Dingus. Yes.
In life?
No, if this motivates you all, we every week it's a contest. Who gets the most Super Chats gets a little extra bonus at the end of the week. Last week I think it was Chris and Winston who won, I think, or Coy and Winston maybe won. So yeah, give us some love. Let's get to a good number here, everybody. I
thought Dingus just thought I'd hit the skids and guys, Dan needs a win. Let's get him a W, guys. Come on.
He's struggling. He's changing studios. Guys. Come on, guys. James Lamario says, drove from Austin to Nashville to see 9 Inch Nails last weekend. So what do you all think of their music and Trent and Atticus's work on film scores? Dan, you want to take this one?
Brilliant composers.
Yeah.
Music was at a weird time for me because I was a somewhat younger teenage years side. So it was banned for a while because of the lyrics and whatnot. Wow. The parents had really, plus we were on the mid 90s, even there was still tinges of the Satanic Panic floating around.
That's right.
So 9 Inch Nails, at least where I was in the South, had some of that concern floating around it, that it was just kind of like, oh, that's a little too weird, and we're gonna make sure they're not drawing pentagrams. I don't know. So I didn't get into 9 Inch Nails music really that much when it was first coming out, but I've enjoy it now, and as composers, brilliant. I the only reason I don't mind watching the Tron Ares trailer over and over and over and over and over again at this point is because that score is pumping through the last half of it. I'm like, yeah, love it.
Yeah, agreed. I've been enjoying the trailers and loving that score as well. A little bit older than Dan, so 9 Inch Nails came along my sweet spot when I was getting into alternative stuff. The Crow was a great soundtrack, and then that captured the energy of what was going on at that time and the kind of music that it built to that soundtrack. And so 9 Inch Nails, that was something we shared when I was in the military. Guys were listening to that all the time in the barracks and hanging out. So yeah, I mean, F You Like an Animal. I can't imagine that went over well with your Southern parents there, Dan. And Wish is
straight to the banned list.
Yeah, no, Dan, we don't do that here. Real quick, Luke is letting me know that Kristian Harloff's out of the theater reaction for After the Hunt is up on the channel now. So when we're done on this, you can go watch it. And he corrected me that Chris and Winston won last week. Chris Carr and Winston won last week. So congratulations to them. Carlton Rudder says, London calling. What's up, Carlton? I doff my cap to you both. True legends of the movie YouTube community. Great to see Dan live. And John, as always, of course, #respect. Well, I mean,
thank you very much.
Dan's the true legend. I'm just hanging out with
Come on.
Tim Sim says, well, there goes my brave little stance that Star Wars doesn't always need to be up to HBO level writing. RIP to that hill I stand on, as Andor won the best drama writing Emmy. Is there more, Tim? Oh, yeah. Jokes aside, surely this Emmy win for Andor backs up the growing demand for improved writing quality and execution that Filoni and company at Lucasfilm cannot ignore. No longer very happy for the 5 Emmys that Andor won, but should have won more in acting that it got snubbed on. Buddy of mine is happy with the Pitts Emmys, as he says it revives the medical drama from Grey's Anatomy's dull later seasons. So interesting.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on this overall here?
I mean, it's sorry.
No, keep going. No, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's different. I got a question about Star Wars, I think a couple weeks ago on my channel, and it's this idea of it seems like there are people that are searching for the one thing that Star Wars needs to be, and I think the important thing is that it doesn't need to be one thing. It was one thing,
right,
when it was just the Lucas film, the original trilogy. But I think that if you want it to thrive, it needs to be able to be several things. So it can be a prestige drama like we just saw with Andor, an Emmy Award winning drama. But there's room for other stuff, and I think that trying to put it in one box you're never going to find the right box that's going to make everybody happy.
Yeah,
and I think that part of the responsibility for that falls on Lucasfilm for effectively messaging what they're doing and what the tone and the intention of each one of their shows is, and I think that they've done it in many cases fairly well. I mean, I think they got the vibe on Skeleton Crew out there pretty well.
Yeah.
People, I think, knew what to expect, more or less. But I think that part of that responsibility also falls on Star Wars fans to maybe broaden their horizons a little bit and say, okay, well, this is what it traditionally meant all those years, but if they also want to try this, let's give them the license to try that. Maybe it won't work, but let's give them the space to try it. It
would be nice to bring that back. The idea of wait and see, the idea of let's see what this is before I judge it. God forbid that should come back into our way of approaching things. I hope it does. Dinkus McNally says, are y'all like me and sad to see The Long Walk only made 11.5 domestically at the box office? Such a good original movie that no one seems to be seeing. Well,
that doesn't seem like an only to me. Again, for something that really only has Stephen King's name attached. No. Mark Hamill, respect to Mark Hamill, but it's not like he's playing Luke Skywalker. I don't think he's playing Luke Skywalker in the movie. That seems like kind of an encouraging result, considering what we've been seeing at the box office for stuff that isn't a particularly known quantity. So, and the budget was pretty low on that as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. The budget was, I think, 20 million. Yeah, 20 million. Yeah. So 11.5 is not bad for a $20 million.
Yeah, and it's a Lionsgate movie, so you have to add like 2 letter grades for the fact that Lionsgate got a movie in the top 5. That's good for them because they haven't been doing that for a while consistently. So no, I'm not discouraged by it at all. I think that's actually not a bad result.
Plus, you're looking at Cooper Hoffman, who some people know, but is not really that well known, and David Johnson, who some people know because of Alien Romulus, but it wasn't even the lead of that movie. That was Kaylee Spaney. And look, and people love Francis Lawrence for the Hunger Games stuff, but he's not a name when you go Francis Lawrence and then $100 million. Like it's it's a bunch of really good artists coming together to make what I think was a damn good movie. But it's not a well-known, as Stan said earlier in the show, it's not a well-known popular title. This is like the first story Stephen King ever wrote when he was like a teenager in college, or high school even. And so it's not a well-known book. So that's gonna affect rather its awareness. So yeah, 11.5 is fine. I'd heard 10. So the fact that it got 11.5, I think is an actually encouraging sign. He also says Crazy Owen Cooper won an Emmy at 15 years old. If I'm James Gunn, I'm looking at getting that kid as Damian Wayne, aka Robin, for Brave and the Bold.
If he wants to.
Right.
If he wants to.
Yeah, the thing is, people are like, oh, they should put him in Marvel or DC, and some of these actors go, you know what, I'm good. I'm
good.
I'm going my route. Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing how the talent that he had. I mean, he wasn't even 15 when he made the show.
Yeah.
Just literally raw talent, because it was his first gig.
Yeah.
The raw talent that I'm not even say kid, that actor has, and the performance he put on, it wasn't a novelty award. They didn't just give him that Emmy because, like, oh, didn't he do good? He was only 13 when he made it. Oh, he did so good. It's like, no, that was genuinely one of the most disturbing, nuanced, real feeling performances I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, just that episode with him and Aaron Doherty in the room, and of course she won as well. Like that alone was a masterclass in acting from both of these actors. And I loved Aaron since I saw her in The Crown. As so I enjoy her work, and she got awarded. But Stephen Graham, dude, who knew years ago when we saw him in Snatch that Stephen Graham was going to become this entity in the world of TV shows and movies? Like, it's amazing how much I mean, I know Statham is the bigger name, but Stephen Graham, you could argue, is the Matt Damon to Statham's Ben Affleck. I just feel like there's more of an artistic bent to Stephen, and you've seen that. Even as a Thousand Blows, the show on Hulu was damn good. So
yeah. I think that's a very apt. That's a very apt metaphor, and I loved how happy everybody was for him when he won acting specifically last night. Mm-hmm. Everybody just jumped on him and was hugging him, and you could tell that he really put everything he had into that part.
Yeah. Let's see. Tim Simpson's. Oh, we read that one. Jody Money says, any surprise that Andor lost Best Directing? The Gorman Massacre episode had won editing and production design and shares the visual effects win. Was the Academy just spreading love around, or did Andor lack support from a key branch?
Well, I'd have to see who would see. Slow Horses won for that.
Yes,
that's the category where Slow Horses won.
Yeah.
I mean, not particularly. It's in the drama category. I mean, the Gorman Massacre episode is great, but editing, production design, those are very tangible. In that you can look at the sets and you can listen to the sound and you can almost try to make quantitative judgments of that. Directing is so nebulous because you can have a director who does a big, huge action episode like that, and you can have a director that does a intimate, small, quiet scene between two actors, and those are both impressive and just different kinds of directing. So it didn't really shock me because it's not just about scale, especially in the drama category. There's so much more involved with that.
Yeah, Adam Randall won for Slow Horses. The other nominees were Amanda Marcellus and John Wells separately for The Pit, Jessica Lee Gagne for Severance, and Ben Stiller for Severance, and then Mike White for The White Lotus. So
I mean, I think that was just another pick 'em too. I bet I bet they all got a healthy number of votes.
Yeah. Tim Sim, all right, there we go. Already got that one. Tim Sim also shout out to Dan, his excellent work on Box Office News. Hope everyone has a great week ahead. Yeah,
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, real quick, Dan, where can people subscribe to your channel and listen to your box office or watch your box office charts every week?
YouTube.com/Dan Murrel Movies, or just type Dan Murrel into the search on YouTube, and hopefully I'm the first one that pops up. I don't know of any other ones that do, at least not up near the top. Yeah, I'll be doing. Once we're done here, I'm going to grab lunch. I'm going to start prep on Charts with Dan. I'm going to try to grab a nap somewhere in there. And tomorrow morning, unless something goes heinously wrong, tomorrow morning, I'll have the next episode up talking about Demon Slayer, which, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, not only did it set a record for anime, but I'm finishing my research, I believe was also the highest opening weekend ever for an international film.
Oh, wow.
Domestically.
Okay.
People forget it is an international film. It's from Japan. Yeah. I believe it was the best opening weekend ever for an international film. So, sorry, hit my mic. We're going to be breaking down all that kind of stuff. Nice. Super excited to dive down into it.
Nice. Jake says, I think the fact that Demon Slayer success, making Kristian at least consider doing a reaction to it is sending a message to Hollywood. Anime is a hit. Yeah. Well, I don't know if Hollywood matches Kristian Harloff's instincts to do stuff, but you're right that even if someone like Kristian Harloff would consider it, I think it does speak volumes that anime's influence is growing, if nothing else.
Yeah. I think a big thing was the fact that Demon Slayer was on and is on Netflix.
Yes.
Right. I think that if it were on, and this isn't to demean Crunchyroll by any means.
No.
But Crunchyroll is its subscriber base is smaller, and it's a base that's already very engaged with anime. I think the fact that Demon Slayer was available on Netflix really helped to grow that base even quicker. And they have Dawn to Dawn is on Netflix here in the United States at least, and I think that that's really helping a lot of different shows. I know that Attack on Titan was for a while and maybe still is on Netflix in addition to Crunchyroll. So I think that's been a big one. That's a global distribution platform and a platform where there are a lot of people who aren't anime fans that are also there. And I think that was key in Demon Slayer really expanding its footprint.
Good point, brother. Elusive Rock says, Charged with Dan, the Kristian Harloff Show on the hot mic. Keep me going every week. Thank you for the content. Now is the time to revel in our arts. Stay sweaty. Oh, thank you.
Stay sweaty. Hashtag John Schnapp.
Yes. Tim Sims says also, yes, I admit that I'm probably the only one here that is enjoying that Star Wars is offering what Star Wars is offering now, but agree it has room for improvement or massive improvement according to the community here. Take care. All right.
Thank you, Tim.
Dingus also comes back, says, after watching Alien Earth and seeing Timothy Olyphant with white hair, I now want him as Deathstroke in the DCU. We need more Olyphant. Yeah, I love that show. He's killing it on that show.
I got to catch up. I'm way behind.
Oh, okay.
On, Alien. That's my one of my tasks for this week is to get up current, and so I think the finale's next week, and I want to review it, I want to make sure that I'm ready to go once the finale's done. So that's on my list. I've heard good things.
Yeah, good things. Mike Joyce says, loved Hannah Einbender's speech. Yeah, so did I. I thought everyone gave great speeches last night for the most part.
They did. Yeah. On my video, I went through because the Emmys posted the unedited speeches. So I went through and tried to figure out what everybody said when they dropped the audio out, because there were 4 where they dropped the audio out. And she was one of them.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
which is up now on Twitter if people want to see it, or on X, whatever people call it. Seattle KO. If only Stephen Graham was younger, he'd be a good MCU Wolverine. I can see that, bub.
He'd have to be. Well, I mean, I think you'd have a lot of convince. He'd either have to do Canadian accent, or you'd really have to win over the fan base to not make him Canadian. But he's got the right stature. I think he's got the right build, the right stature.
Wow.
I could see him get that kind of glowering,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's got the attitude for it.
Absolutely. Beto Powers says, wow, great reunion. Did guys find Elizabeth Banks' best director presentation embarrassing? She was clowning the one male director for being nominated. Yeah.
I didn't think she was clowning him necessarily. I just think I think that she was setting herself up and the show up to be a little, I mean, you had to know that Adolescence was going to be the odds-on favorite to win. Right. And I think that when you go out of your way to point out that there are 5 female nominees and 1 male nominee, I think somebody should have thought ahead and said, like, well, the point that you're making is somewhat undercut if the one guy who's nominated wins, and that's exactly what happened. Yep. So I think it's a great thing to, I don't know. It's a nice thing to celebrate. I agree. Right. I don't think she was clowning on him. I didn't hear anything derogatory toward him specifically, but I think it undercuts the point a little bit when you make that point and then they give the award to the one guy who I think was very deserving. It's sort of, I don't know. I was a little mixed on that myself.
Yeah, but Elizabeth loves to stick her foot in her mouth sometimes, and I think the heart is in the right place because she's trying to basically stump for women getting more opportunities in Hollywood. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If men were underrepresented in Hollywood, there would be men complaining about it constantly on award shows as well. Everything is equal in that way, and so I think there's nothing wrong with it, but there's a way to do it that I think is more consumable and doesn't lead to ridicule, which undercuts your point, and so
it was a great thing to celebrate. It was an absolutely great thing to celebrate. Yeah, I think you tweak the tone of it slightly.
Yeah, slightly.
And there's not an issue.
And of course, we recognize there were two men saying that. So, but
yeah, exactly. The experts in what people should think about this.
Jake says they should come out with an anime guide for old people. Hey, you know what? If I had the guts to sit down and watch all of this stuff, a la Dan Murrel watching all that Doctor Who stuff, I would maybe create an entire video on this and do this for old people, because I do like anime, but like I don't have the energy or the time to do that, Dan. But
I mean, just One Piece alone would be years of your life.
Oh, that's true.
It's
100%.
It's insanity.
Yeah. Dickens also says, hopefully with production to begin filming in April, we will get some casting news soon for the Batman Part 2. Still hoping for Mr. Freeze as the villain. Yeah, a lot of people are hoping.
Are we ready? Are we ready to put our feet back in those icy waters? Has Arnold's shadow dimmed enough to bring Mr. Freeze back to live action? That's an interesting question.
Buddy, chill. Maven the Reaper, Rocha and Murrel the Goats, sending you both positive vibes. I love anytime you two are giving knowledge. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if I would qualify it as knowledge, but I know we do our best.
Do our best, for sure. Joe Ryder says, movies we'll never see. If you had the chance and could only see one movie, which would it be? Eric Stoltz's Back to the Future, pre-shot Rogue One, or pre-shot Solo? Oh, pre-shot Rogue One. It's not even a question.
Really?
I would love to. Oh, sorry. No, I'm sorry. Lord and Miller Solo is the answer. Pre-shot Rogue One. From what I've seen from Gareth recently, I'm not that excited. I think Tony saved it. So I would say the Lord and Miller Solo, which I think is the rare mistake Kathleen has made in removing directors or changing directors. I think that was a massive mistake. So yeah, I would say that one. What about you, Jim?
I'm fascinated by the idea of alternate realities and just the concept of it. So for me, it's got to be Stoltz Back to the Future to see a movie I am so familiar with, that I know word for word, scene for scene, line for line, and see the version of it that almost existed.
Right.
I couldn't pass that up. It'd have to be Stoltz Back to the Future.
Fair enough. I will throw another one in there. That's Harvey Keitel in Apocalypse Now. People forget he was the lead. He was replaced, and Martin Sheen came in. Harvey Keitel's Apocalypse Now would be fascinating. Yep. Joe Ryder says, P.S. I love you guys. Longtime follower of you both. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Great picture, Joe. Jake says, Hollywood take notes. An animated studio is doing things better as far as a 4-year plan on releases.
Yeah. Which animated studio is?
He's talking about Crunchyroll, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think they've been planning this for a while with Demon Slayer.
Matt and McCall, this $2 is for new tires for Dan's worn out car. What?
It's new. Thank you, though. It's because I'm on the road so much. It's because I'm between Kansas City, St. Louis, and Dallas all the time. Hours and hours and hours. But thank you. Eventually, I am going to have to replace it, and those $2 is good. I'm going to put that in the tire fund because I am on the road. I'm getting ready because award season. I'm back on the road all the time.
You should start doing blogs on the road. I don't know if you have time, but you should start.
Yeah.
GoPal says it's nice to see you all together. Thank you, GoPal.
Thank you.
I hope the timing works out for all three together. Yeah, we do that once a year, but hopefully we would do it again. I mean, I would love us to do a live show somewhere. That would be a lot of fun, the three of us. So
yeah,
we'll see. GoPal says, Roka's Hobbit take is maybe the worst I've ever heard, but I personally take a Clerks 2 view of Lord of the Rings. People liking the Hobbit films is not a terrible take. I don't understand. There's a lot of people like the Hobbit films. Come on.
Not me, but there are a lot of people, yes.
I know. GoPal says, though book-wise, I loved The Hobbit as a little kid, but found the first 50 pages of Fellowship insurmountably boring for about 15 years.
Oh. Not me. I did also read it when I was in college. I'd read The Hobbit when I was in junior high, but I started Fellowship when I was in college, and oh man, that sucked me in from the beginning.
Want to talk about insurmountably boring? Watch 9 hours of hobbits running across the fields. Come on now. All right.
Well, okay, now I was nice to you about The Hobbit, John. Let's not start a fight, okay?
All right. Matt Stidster McCall says, does Regal showing old films have a financial benefit? No spoilers, but in Long Walk, did you like the arc for the long-haired blonde in the movie? I didn't. Well, Dan hasn't seen it, so he can't comment on that. I would say to you that is a criticism of the movie. I wouldn't say I didn't like it, but I do think it's a bit shoved in. So I would say that. But as for Regal showing old films, clearly, I mean, what was this recent? Jaws almost won the week, and so it depends on. And Star Wars came out 25 million, so it just all depends on the movie. But I do think it's good to remind people that there are these old movies that people want to go back in the theater and see again, and that's healthy and essential for the movie business overall, I think. Dan?
I mean, for a movie theater, anything that gets a person in that door, and at that concession stand, is worth it.
Yeah,
unless it's a movie that they pass up on showing one movie that would have done better for. That's the only time. But I think as far as theaters are concerned, if they get you to buy a ticket and buy a popcorn or a soda, then it's worth it because that's it for them.
Great. Gopal says, I got into Bond from however many nights of Bond on TBS in the 90s, right?
7 Days of 007. That's how it started out. It started out as 7 Days of 007. I think they expanded it over the years.
Yeah. How do kids now get into it when Amazon keeps most of them behind the paywall? There's
Do kids now get into it? That's the question. I don't know if they do.
I think they can watch you can start with the Daniel Craig one and you're just fine. You don't have to go back to Sean or Roger or Timothy or any of them. You can just start with Daniel. Gopal says Giamatti will always primarily be pig vomit to me. Oh, come on. I loved him in that, but he's moved past that.
He's so good in that movie. To be fair, Giamatti is incredible in Private Parts.
WNBC.
WN, and that's that like Southern accent that these guys are like. Now listen here, how the kind of foghorn, leghorn type accent. Oh my gosh, he's so good.
Yeah, he's so good.
WNBC. Yeah.
Gopaz is still astounding. His dad banned Pete Rose for life. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti's dad.
Great documentary on HBO for the users that are Pete Rose people. Like that documentary, 2-part doc was incredible watch on HBO. Highly recommend it, especially because he had just died when the thing came out. Christopher Brickner says, Anthony Russo said RDJ was doing much prep for Doom, like writing backstory, costume ideas, and more. Does this give you more confidence in RDJ as Doom? Well, I reported on the hot mic that, and Jeff said this, Jeff had elements of this as well, that he'd heard that like they shot 3 weeks of stuff with RDJ not in the costume, and they took a look at the dailies and said, no, we're going to have to reshoot all of this stuff. And I reported that he has essentially been in charge of rewriting his own scenes. So I would normally say, yes, I'm excited about this because it shows a lot of dedication and care. But I think there's a lot of smoke on that set that's leading to a fire, and I'm not sure if it gives me more confidence, just to answer your question. What about you, Dan?
I've been sort of, depending on how they treat the character, I think that it's either an exciting possibility to have Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom or an act of desperation on a corporate level, but I've never had a lack of confidence in him in the role. I mean, he just won an Oscar. I mean, less than 2 years ago, and he was fantastic already as Iron Man. So any misgivings I have about Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, it has nothing to do with him as an actor, and it has everything to do with the creative angle that Marvel is taking as far as how they're going to deal with his character.
Yep, I agree with Dan completely. Gopal says, speaking of Philip Seymour Hoffman, how do you feel about the untitled extended cut of Almost Famous? Well, I have to say I've never seen it. Dan,
I like it. I think it's good. Okay. It's one of those movies that I think is. I don't know if I would say if you've never seen Almost Famous, watch that one first, but I do think it adds a lot of depth to the characters. The theatrical cut is a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
So if you're intimidated by the cut, the bootleg cut, I think it's called, or Untitled, then the theatrical version is a wonderful film. But I enjoy the extended cut of Almost Famous. There's a great scene that's added between Kate Hudson and Billy Crudup in that movie that really shows you more of the two of them together before things start to sort of fall apart, that I think is really good. So I'm a fan, but I think it's maybe best to be a fan of the movie first and then go seek that out.
Yeah, I think there are some good extended cuts of films that have come out. I have to catch that one. And there are some bad extended cuts. Like, don't ever see the Cinema Paradiso director's cut. It will kill the movie for you. The original is perfectly great, but we see the extended cut, it answers too many questions, and that ruins the mystery and the joy of the magic of the movie, in my opinion. Christopher Brickner says, with Long Walk in theaters and Edgar Wright's Running Man later this year, this is shaping up to be a great year for Stephen King. adaptations. Yeah.
Knock on wood. I love that Running Man trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that trailer. I'm looking forward to that movie because I'm an Edgar Wright guy anyway. So
yeah. Well, we just did on the Cinephiles over the weekend, our live show, talk about Stephen King adaptations. There's like 80 of them. There's so many adaptations.
So many.
Looking at the stats, my co-host Steve Moore has put it out there like that. The top 3 stories that have been adapted into movies or TV shows, it is it is the Bible, William Shakespeare, and then Stephen King. And that's a hell of a top 3 to be a part of. So fascinating stuff for Stephen. So it speaks to the volume of the power of his work and how it endures. Stephanie, what's up, Stephanie? Member from my 5 months here says, "Hi, Dan. Which child actor performance was more raw? Owen in Adolescence, Haley Joel Smith in Sixth Sense, Jodie in Taxi Driver, Jodie Foster, that is, and Natalie Portman in Leon the Professional, Elijah Wood in Radio Flyer, or Henry Thomas in E.T.?"
I mean, those are like the all-time greats.
How do you leave off Anna Paquin in The Piano? She won an Oscar for that.
Well, I was thinking Jacob Tremblay in Room as well.
Oh, yeah.
All great. I mean, I guess it depends on how you define. I mean, raw is such a like, it's how do you define that in a way of just because they're all raw in that they're all great. I think that a great performance from a child actor has an element of, well, because they're kids, so there's a certain energy and an authenticity to it. You could call that a raw quality that you don't necessarily get from an older actor because it's just, you can see that there's a certain amount, to me, in my opinion, for them to get to where they are.
Yeah.
You can see for them that there's a certain amount that's not pretend for them.
Right.
That they, and it's not that older actors are faking it, but I just think there's a place that a younger actor has to go, that it has to be more real for them because they don't have as much to draw on from their life, as many experiences and as much sense memory and whatever else for them to sort of put themselves in that situation. I think they have to imagine that it's real. And I think that leads to a much more sort of natural, raw quality in a great kid's performance. Mm-hmm. And those are all so, they just feel so real.
Yeah.
It might be recency bias, but, I mean, I don't know. Henry Thomas in the third act of E.T., I mean, that's a kid who's just, his heart's broken, and then that's a kid whose dream came true, when E.T.'s back, and then that's a kid whose heart is broken again, but in a different way at the end, and there's never a second that doesn't feel real. But Haley Joel Osment is such a great haunted kid in The Sixth Sense, and you believe that this kid is just, I mean, they're all great. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick one to say like that's the rawest, that's the most raw. But I mean, Adolescence, that role is raw in the sense of like this kid is a live wire.
Yeah,
and you could trip him at any second. He could trip at any second and not know why. That role is different, I think, than the other ones are on this list.
I would agree with that. I mean, I think Jodie is the closest to what Owen did.
Yeah,
with what he experienced. Because I think even when you watch The Professional, there's. I think Natalie's doing great work, but a lot of that is Jean Reno as well. And that adds to the air of menace throughout the whole movie. And with Owen in Adolescence, he is carrying the story. He is the guy you were worried about, whether he is telling the truth or not. And he's the one shattering everybody who comes within his universe. And that's something that I think we're raw. And just to pick up on what you were saying, I think what it is that kids aren't trained to be raw. They either are or they aren't. And when you get to actors as they get older, they're trained to find these things and explore these things. When kids are raw with this stuff, it speaks to an innate understanding, and they're more open to play and create that stuff with less hangups. And so they're able to explore this stuff with more freedom. And that's what you enjoy when you see them on screen, for sure. Christopher Brickner says Demon Slayer will likely be the first anime film to pass 100 million in the US. The fact that Pokemon made 85 million in 1999 just shows how big Pokemon was in the 90s.
Yeah. Pokemon was a big deal.
Yeah. Pikachu, I think, did well. Detective Pikachu did as well, right, when it was out. So
yeah, it did pretty good. I know some people were thinking sky high numbers for Detective Pikachu. I think it did fine, but a lot of people were expecting more because of the whole Pokemon connection
phenomenon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake says it's UFO Table, not Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll is a streaming service. Oh, sorry, y'all. Is that right?
I mean, I don't know if he's trying to correct me. I know that Crunchyroll is a streaming service.
I think he's trying to correct me.
Okay. I don't know in what context that is, but if I'm speaking of Crunchyroll, I'm not speaking of it as I'm speaking of it as the platform, the host of the show.
Comics with Izzyverse NYC was missing movie fights and Dan rants. You guys are great. Oh,
thank you. I'm missing movie fights constantly. Oh, I love movie fights.
Oof. Oh, man. Chris Brickner says, if Lucasfilm could go back in time to the making of Last Jedi, do you think they would completely change the film and its story? I think they would. I don't know. Kathleen gave him a trilogy off of that movie. So I would be a hard I think she's still convinced that she was right about that movie and that other people just don't get it. And certainly there's a lot of people on YouTube who would support her point of view. Dan, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, if I could go back in time and make it so that I somehow wrote a clause in my contract so that I never have to cover The Last Jedi, I would definitely do that. Maybe. I don't know. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I try not to be, because I understand people ask questions in good faith, but I think part of it is just this has been a conversation that's been ongoing forever.
Yeah.
I was in a different state. I was on a different channel owned by a different company than owns it now when we started talking about this. I've been through 5 major life events since The Last Jedi came out, and it's like, and listen, I would hope, my answer would be, I would hope, hindsight being 2020, that they would go into not just The Last Jedi, but the trilogy with a plan.
That is the better question.
That would be my answer. I would hope that if they were going to go back and change something, they would say, okay, we need to plan this out. We need to map it out, and we need to commit to one direction before we do the movies. Whether The Last Jedi is the same movie and they make the third one different, or whether The Last Jedi is a different movie and they make the third one the same. A plan.
Yeah.
Overall. Not Last Jedi specific. That's what they needed to have.
If DC can wait 5 years for a Batman Part 2, you could have waited for JJ to finish whatever he was doing and then move back to do the second installment. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or whatever, Yeah.
Haskell 420. Hi, John and Dan. I know there's a ton of stuff to watch on TV. One good series no one's talking about is USA Peacock's The Rainmaker, based on the book/film. Comes out on Fridays. Yeah, I saw the trailer. I know that what's his face from Mad Men is in it. John Mulaney. Not John Mulaney. What's his name?
John Slattery.
Slattery. That's it. Yeah, I know.
Although I'd love to see John Mulaney in The Rainmaker.
But yeah, I haven't. We watched the trailer where we haven't quite spun around to watching. What about you, Dan? Have you seen any of this?
No, I'm bad at catching new shows. I usually catch up on them later, like I'm doing with Alien right now. But I love a good legal drama, thriller. Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. Corn Emperor, I need a Heart of Darkness BTS Doom movie doc. Doom. Like
is he thinking like Avengers, like Doomsday?
Oh, yeah, Doom.
Like a sort of a fly on the wall. You Are There type documentary on the making of that movie.
I think there'll be a sequel to that MCU book possibly down the road. That could be possible. Christopher Brickner also says the most impressive thing about Revenge of the Sith re-release was it was grassroots. There was little marketing spent on it. The hype was all from the fans. Well, I mean, they did create a new poster and they did put it out there. So I wouldn't say it was all from the fans, but yes, certainly people wanted it, and the Lucasfilm saw that people wanted it and created marketing campaigns around it. But yes,
yeah, for sure. That's the good thing about re-releases for studios is generally your marketing spend does not have to be very aggressive, because people hear about it and they know the movie and they don't have to be sold on what it is. They just know that it's coming out. Boom, easy.
Yep. Gold Pass says, how do you feel about Honey Don't? I thought it was a big step up from Drive Away Dolls, which I liked well enough. I would disagree with you 100%.
I didn't see it. No.
Yeah, it is not a step up, in my opinion. It's more of a lateral step, because these guys got to get back together. Like this is bad stuff. And also, I'm not the biggest Qualley person. I know it's everyone must be worshiping at the altar of Margaret Qualley, but I'm not feeling the magic like other people do. I did like her in The Substance, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel driven to see her stuff when I watch her sometimes. I feel the same way about Dakota. I think both of them deliver performances that I'm not 100% always all the way in on. So,
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson.
I'm with you on that. She doesn't operate on a frequency that I'm always on the same wavelength, but I do feel the quality magic. I do. I quite enjoy her. I think she's very. I don't know. She has a very natural quality to her performance, to her performing style, and I always believe she brings a lot of believability to her performances that I'm drawn to.
Maybe that's what it is. Is I sometimes don't. I don't radiate that kind of stuff, because I felt that way about Greta Gerwig when she was an actress. I was like, I was so bored with her when I was watching her movies, even Frances Ha and whatever the ones up the stairs or whatever it was. I was like, this mumblecore stuff. I just was like, what is this? So it just may be my own personal preference.
Yeah.
James Payne said, I asked last week, but would like to hear Dan's opinion. Dan, do you know who Audie Murphy is, and what would you think of a biopic on his life? Also, who do you want to see a biopic for?
I know the name. I'm sure if you reminded me, probably I'd be like, oh, yes, Audie Murphy. But I feel like I'm going to be ridiculed now for not being able to immediately recollect who Audie Murphy is.
Only from people who are over 50. Audie Murphy was a World War II guy who was a hero and performed some incredible acts as a soldier there. And so he's more asking about doing a biopic on him because he had a very tragic ending as well. So,
I love a good like interesting biopic. If someone lived an actually interesting life, then yes, absolutely. Because I love to hear real stories, and I think that you can, as long as you're not untrue to the nature of that story or the spirit of that story, that person's life, you don't have to do every single detail as it happened. If you get the essence of that person correct, then I think that you've done a good job. So if it's an interesting story, then yeah, sure, I'd love it to hear a good story always.
What about
I want to see a biopic for? I think I've said it before, but it would also be a war movie, partially. But Christopher Lee, talk about interesting life.
Oh yeah,
man. So I feel bad because on a early episode of Movie Fights, like way at the beginning, I think it was Roger Barr pitched a biopic about Christopher Lee, and partially because I was fighting against him.
Yeah.
And partially because I didn't really know at that time as much as I should know about Christopher Lee. I was very dismissive and ridiculed that idea, but that was the game also.
Yeah.
So I'm not stealing Roger's answer, but I am agreeing with him. I think Christopher Lee would be a fascinating bio or series even, just a guy who did everything.
Yeah. I went into a random wormhole the other night, and I saw him on a British talk show back in the 1970s, and he talked about how much he revered J.R.R. Tolkien. Like, he became a 10-year-old, and he was a man in his 40s, I think, when he did this interview. He became like a 10-year-old talking about what it was like when he was in the bar when J.R.R. Tolkien came in to the pub, and he could barely speak when J.R.R. came over to introduce himself to the crew because one of the guys he was hanging out with knew J.R.R. and asked him to come over. And Christopher's like, I could barely speak. And it's like, wow, this man of immense power was, put down to this place because of his reverence for JR. So yeah, would be interesting.
Crazy.
Gopal says Portman triptych of Leon, Beautiful Girls, and Mars Attacks. Well, you had me until Mars Attacks, but yeah, sure. Good stuff for her.
Yeah. Mars Attacks is interesting.
Yeah. Gopal just watched Ken's drunk movie fights. Was great.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Legendary movie fights. We were all so I think that was the one where they had a bartender.
Oof. Right.
And it was bad. It was bad news. I just remember I think that was the one where I lost the fight to Ken.
Oh.
Well, because Ken did a few because he won the first one and he did like the champion of champions for drunk movie fights.
Right.
But there was one where I lost the fight to Ken, and it was the drunken bet that if I could correctly guess Chris Hemsworth's age or something, then I would win, and I did not. Because he knew.
Not an
whose
easy
age did he know? Yeah, he's that was fun.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Jake says, no, sorry, I didn't mean no offense. John said, I don't know who does the animation. Is it Crunchyroll? Oh, and I corrected saying.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I apologize, Jake. I get defensive because oftentimes one of my pet peeves is when someone tries to correct me on something and they're wrong, and I'm like, no, I know. Sorry. I apologize, Jake. I did not hear John say that, or I would have not reacted.
7-minute ads, 6-minute ads, or whatever it is. Yeah.
7.
Corn Emperor says, Cinephileology, Rocha and Dan's new show with his love. Oh, Oh, thanks, man. That's cool. Paige Chaudhry says, I'm back from ear surgery. Hey, and happy to see the Founding Fathers. Please do a live show. Yeah. We'll see.
I'm glad that you're back and hopefully your recovery goes well.
Yes, agreed. And hopefully we'll do a live show one day. We'll see. We're live now. Chris Bruckner says Demon Slayer Infinity Castle budget was just $20 million. Wow, that's pretty impressive then.
It is. Although I do feel like there has to be the same discussion that was had around the visual effects budget for Godzilla -1, which is that the we don't quite know what the animation budgets are and what how much work animators are asked to do for the money that they spend. I will say that both movies are incredibly impressive for the budgets for which they were made. My hope is always that that comes with a livable, agreeable working condition for the animators and the visual effects artists that made them.
Yeah. Agreed. Alan Smithy says, hey guys, I used to be the archivist for the Emmys and had all their tapes in my office. I dubbed copies of clips for various talk shows featuring winners. I knew more about who won than the Academy did. Oh,
that's awesome. That seems like that'd be a fun job. The archivist for the Emmys, like you could literally get anything.
Yeah.
I would imagine, like whatever you want.
That'd be
cool.
All right, well, that's our last super chat. Dan, I think we should wrap up the show there. Thank you all so much for joining us. As I said, Kristian Harloff's after the theater reaction for or out of theater reaction for After Hunt is up right now. Dan, love it to see you. Please let people know where they can find your brother and everything that's going on.
I do have an Instagram. No promises, but I do have an Instagram that I post to very infrequently at Murrel Dan. I'm not on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it anymore. Mainly YouTube. Just find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Dan Murrel Movies, or just search Dan Murrel on YouTube. I'll have charts with Dan later tomorrow. I'm planning to do my live show on Dan's World on Wednesday afternoon, as always, 4 p.m. Central Time, which would make it 5 p.m. Eastern, and do the math for the rest of the time zones, 2 p.m. Pacific, and then somewhere in the middle for Denver. And movie news, reviews, box office, all that stuff, breaking news. I'm always trying to get myself into some crazy research hole of something that I shouldn't spend as much time on, or watch a bunch of movies that are just fun to do. So yeah, come hang out. We love movies over there. I love movies. You should love movies. You probably love movies. Let's all hang out and love movies.
There you go. Good bridge. All right, Dan, go work on your charts, man. We'll see you. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, brother. Have a great rest of your day, bro.
You bet.
All right. There was Dan Murrel hanging out with us for this show of the Kristian Harloff Show. Thank you all so much. That's my brother of the Founding Fathers, who recently had lunch in San Diego, and we stupidly didn't take a picture. We should have taken a picture, and that's on me, but it was great to see Dan hanging out with him, and I hope you all enjoyed his points of views, his perspectives, and his knowledge on all the stuff that you guys asked about and all the topics we covered on the show. As I said earlier, please remember, leave your comments down below in the comment section. What do you think of the conversations we had, our points of views, our thoughts on all these things, our opinions on all these things? Let us know all of that. And, of course, remember to subscribe to the channel down below as well. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the social media stuff. And my channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. It is now the John Rocha channel. So please follow there for all the new content that's coming down the pike here. I think I'll either go live tonight for The Truth, or maybe Jeff and I, if we can figure out a time, we'll do a hot mic episode and talk more about the Emmys, more about other stuff that's dropping in the world of entertainment. And then tomorrow, of course, Spill the Tequila. Geek Buddies on Wednesday, talking about Alien Earth and other stuff that's broken. And then, of course, we'll talk hot mic again on Thursday and Geek Buddies on Friday, and more stuff coming up over the weekend. Plus, I'll probably have my reviews of The Long Walk, full spoiler, and Downton Abbey coming up as well. All right, thank you guys so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well. We'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Kristian Harloff Show tomorrow. Peace.